Multiple legends are told about Bloods Point Road, a two-lane road near Flora Township in Boone County, Illinois. Stories of supernatural hounds, witches, and ghosts of innocent children murdered or killed in a van crash draw many who are curious about the unexplained or paranormal. This presentation will share some of the legends and a few of the facts behind the stories. Welcome to an audio version of an original article by Kathi Kresol, operator of Haunted Rockford Paranormal Events, Rockford, Illinois. This audio presentation is entitled The Legacy of Arthur Blood, Bloods Point Road. The story originally appeared in the book Haunted Rockford, Illinois by Kathi Kresol, 2017. This audio article was produced by Thomas Saunders for Haunted Rockford. Folks around the Rockford, Illinois area who are interested in ghosts and strange happenings eventually take the short drive to Flora Township. It's a pretty rural area with nothing much to see except for crops and farm animals. You wouldn't know it by driving through the area, but this stretch of road is very well known to anyone who is even remotely curious about the paranormal. There are several legends attached to the road with the unfortunate name of Bloods Point. Though no one seems to remember exactly when these started, most agree that they have been spread for generations. The name may make one think that something tragic happened here. The truth is, the road was given the name of the first man who settled the area in 1841, Arthur Blood. The stories about the road have continued to spread, and now to visit there is almost a rite of passage. Whole carloads of people will drive the road late at night just for the chance that they will witness something supernatural. The stories are much like the stories you hear all over the country. Stories of hellhounds that guard the cemetery, a witch that caused problems for the early settlers, and children hanged from a bridge or who died in car accidents have persisted for years. Mike Rutland, formerly a team member of a paranormal investigation group, was interviewed some years back. He shared details of an encounter with one of the legendary dogs. Mike was driving down Bloods Point Road one night with a friend. It was a warm evening and they had the windows down in the car. They heard a strange noise coming from behind. Mike described the sound as similar to metal dragging on the concrete. Suddenly, there was a huge dog's head in the window, growling and barking. "We were probably going over 40 miles per hour. This thing came out of nowhere," Mike stated. Mike went on to explain that he studies the occult, and these large black dogs are often collectors of, or the protectors of, lost souls. They were near the end of Bloods Point Road, not far from the cemetery, when the attack took place. Mike theorizes that these dogs guard the area surrounding the cemetery. Other stories claim that while driving, people were followed very closely by a large black pickup truck. Some tell of their frightening experience of hearing the car race up behind them, practically blinding them with the bright lights. This truck rides their bumpers, causing them to go faster to get away. Suddenly, the truck will disappear. They believe that the unseen driver of the black vehicle meant to harm them. Bloods Point also has a story of Beulah, an alleged witch. This story has different versions. One version includes the story of old Arthur Blood. Arthur and his wife were blessed with many children and a large lot of land. They had livestock, and their fields were very productive. They got along well with most of their neighbors, even old Lady Beulah. She was mean and nasty to the other folks, and everyone called her a witch. The Bloods didn't listen to what the neighbors said, and they let their children play with the old woman, who treated their children well. Things went along like this until the winter of 1842. No one was prepared for a winter that was very severe and seemed to last forever. 1/3 of all the livestock in the area died. People suffered horribly. When spring finally arrived, it brought no relief because fires destroyed all of the crops and orchards. People started pointing fingers at each other, trying to blame someone for the devastation. The neighbors turned on the Bloods because their children had a relationship with Beulah, whom they suspected had brought these trials to their community. They whispered about the Blood family and spread rumors about the children losing their souls to the devil because of their friendship with Beulah. At first, Arthur scoffed at these rumors, but after a time, he began to believe them. He was tortured with the thought that his children's souls would be lost. As strange as it may seem, according to the legend, in his desperation to save his children from eternal damnation, Arthur decided that he should kill the children before Beulah could turn them against God. Arthur hanged them from a railroad bridge. It is said on certain nights, when the moon is just right, you can see their little bodies swaying under the train trestle. In another version of the story, Beulah takes revenge on the settlers when they blame her for the bad winter and spring. They forced her out of her home. She returned and lured the children out to the woods where she hanged them. They say Witch Beulah appears in the woods beside the road, accompanied by her black cat, still seeking vengeance against those who harmed her. Her cat will dart out into the road in front of vehicles, forcing them to swerve and crash. Beulah's hatred has supposedly cursed the whole road, making all sorts of bad things happen. One accident that she allegedly caused involved a van full of handicapped children. The van driver was a lovely young woman who really cared for the children. They had all been to a party, and some of them were still in their costumes from the day, including the driver. She was dressed up in a clown suit with her face painted with a large smile. The children had a busy day and some of them were dozing. It was a long drive, so to keep the children entertained, the driver was singing to them. She often glanced back in the rear view mirror to ensure the children were still strapped into their seatbelts. It was during one of these glances that an animal ran into the road. By the time the driver looked back, it was too late. She turned the wheel to avoid hitting the creature and lost control of the vehicle, hitting the guardrail at high speed. The van went off the road, breaking through the barricade and plunging to the railroad tracks below. Everyone in the van was killed. The driver was horribly mangled from the steering wheel. The legend goes on to say that the children are still there in the woods, by the stretch of road where the accident occurred. Some people swear they have seen them, while others have heard the sounds of children's laughter when they left their car. The children are supposedly there to help anyone who might have issues with their automobile on that stretch of road. The legend states that if you stop your car on the road and put it in neutral, the ghosts of the children try to help by pushing the car out of danger. Reportedly, witnesses who have tried this have sprinkled baby powder on the trunk only to find small handprints left in the powder by the ghostly children. If you do happen to try this and get out of your car to check, you might hear the children's laughter coming from the woods nearby. Sometimes you might even see their small shadows in those woods, or the ghost of the driver, still dressed in her clown suit. Research has shown some things in these stories are actually true. There actually was an Arthur Blood. His whole family lived here in Boone County in the 1830s. Arthur was the first to settle in Flora Township. He was married, and there was a boy under the age of 5 in the household. Arthur built his house on a hill there, and it became known as Blood's Point. There were 2 families who joined the Bloods, the Daniel Bliss and Waite Rice families. They lived in one of the log cabins that Arthur built. Daniel Bliss died in 1846 and was the first person buried in Blood's Point Cemetery. Waite Rice died a couple years later and was buried there too. Research has not yet found any Bloods listed in the records for that cemetery. There have been some terrible, fatal accidents along Blood's Point Road, but so far, no research has found one involving a van or bus full of children. Some of the accidents might have been caused by an animal darting across the road, but this was not mentioned in the news accounts. Most people would have trouble believing any of these claims in the light of day, but each year, new stories of encounters are shared. While research has not discovered the true origins of these stories, other than the unfortunate name, of course, the true mystery might just be why these claims have continued year after year. This is the end of our audio article. Thanks for listening.